Which one do you use? A setting burr or a hart burr to flush set faceted stones? Well, we're going to go to the bench and I'm going to show you two reasons why you should choose a hart burr to set your faceted stones. Let's take a look at the setting burr first. As you can see, the geometry of a setting burr looks very much like the bottom of a stone with a kool tip and the cutting edges. But there's also this tall wall here that also cuts into the metal and it creates a straight wall side with an angled or diagonal shelving that will have the girdle sit on top and the kool sit in the angled portion of the setting cut that you're making. This is a perfect setting tool for a tube setting, but it's not necessarily the best choice for a flush setting, and I'll show you why. If we take a look at roughly the same size burr in a hart burr, you can see there's a huge difference. You've still got the same shape at the bottom of the burr that looks just like the kool of a faceted stone, but you can see the girdle edge is very thin and very narrow to create that seat for the girdle of the stone to sit into, with the kool at the angled or diagonal shelving to hold the stone in place. Then you also see this um, opposite diagonal from the kool at the top, which kind of simulates the crown facets on a faceted stone. So if you're trying to do a flush set in a solid piece of silver or gold or copper or whatever it is that you're setting in, this is going to create roughly the shape of your faceted stone. And if you're doing a flush setting, this is what's going to create that audible click when you know that the stone is set correctly. So let's take a look at the seat of the setting burr, the cut that I made with the setting burr in a tube setting. And you'll be able to see right away, if you look very closely, you can see that very shiny spot right there is the lip where the stone is going to sit. And just to compare, look at the thickness of the tube wall here. This is the bottom side of the tube. If I flip it over and you see the top side of the tube, you can see that that tube has been significantly changed in thickness by these straight walls on your setting burr here. So just for an example, when you set this setting burr inside, you can see it's cut off a significant portion of the top wall and created the seat at the same time, which is very, very beneficial in a tube setting. But if that is the same thing that happens when you use this same burr in a piece of solid metal, then you probably are going to have a tough time getting the area of the metal over the stone because there's not enough left over to push over the girdle. So setting burrs 99.9% of the time are going to be your best option inside a tube setting. So you can see that bright silver lip there and then the long tall sidewall. That sidewall is what you're going to push over the girdle to hold the stone in place. A heart burr. Now, I just showed you why a setting burr works really well in a tube setting. Now I'm going to show you the difference between the two kind of side by side in a piece of solid metal to give you an idea of what the geometry looks like and why I choose to use the hart burr. So let's take a look at the setting burr first. So here's a piece of solid silver. And just for the sake of argument, I'm using this larger piece so you can see very quickly and very easily what the geometry of the stone is going to look like if you drill this straight into a piece of solid sterling or gold or whatever metal you're choosing to set in, and what it does to the metal itself. Unfortunately, I can't get a very good video view of the metal without showing you in very large scale what the difference is. So let's take this hart burr and say that it's spinning, 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 and it's going into the metal. And as it's getting down into the metal, you can see very clearly right here, the sidewall is straight. You've got the tip in the pavilion for the coulee, looks great. The bottom part looks fine. But when I remove this from the metal, I'm essentially getting this shape. I'm getting straight wall. Come on, focus. There we go. Straight wall, curve, or diagonal, diagonal, straight wall. When I cut in with a setting burr, that doesn't leave me with, I mean, it leaves me with a lot of material up here at the top to have to try and push over the girdle of the stone in order to get it to set into the metal properly. However, if I were to use a hart burr, drill, 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 and I go to about half of the distance between the girdle and the top of the hart burr, I'm actually going to get a shape that looks more like this. That's a terrible drawing, but you get the idea, which means when I talk about getting the audible click, when I place the stone into the metal, it's going to click down into place right about here. And then you have this angled area of metal that you can push down on top of the stone instead of the straight wall. So with the hart burr, let's redraw this here. You've got the coulee area, then you've got the girdle area, and then you've got a curved area like this that you're going to be pushing down over the stone. And with the setting burr, you have a straight wall. So which do you think is going to be easier to press over? This little lip right here from the hart burr, or the straight up and down wall from the setting burr? So I choose to use a hart burr. Steps are the same. I drill a hole first, then I use a ball burr to open the seat, and then I use the hart burr to actually shape the seat to look just like a faceted stone. So those are two reasons why I choose to use a hart burr over a setting burr when I'm trying to set a faceted stone. Most people will tell you in lots of different ways which way is the right way, which way is the wrong way. And quite frankly, there is no wrong way. You do what works best for you. I just happen to find that a hart burr flesh setting in solid metal is a lot easier for me than it is to try and do a setting burr. So take that as you will. Try both ways, see which way you like the best, and decide which one is best for you. There is no right or wrong way. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye, y'all.